Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss part 4 of the chapter 2. The name of the chapter is Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants from your class 12 biology syllabus. From this chapter, I have made already 3 videos and I think all of you have gone through these 3 videos properly, and from these previous 3 videos we came to know the parts of flower, the development of the male gametophyte, microsporogenesis, the development of the female gametophyte, the ovule structure and function, and the megasporogenesis, and last but not the least, the difference between the microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. Today I am going to discuss the next part of this chapter, the part 4 of this chapter, and the topic is pollination. Before starting the topic, you should know one thing, that what is the meaning of the pollination or what is the basic definition of pollination. So actually the pollination means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. So this is the basic definition of pollination, and pollination is actually the important and the first and foremost medium of the sexual reproduction in the flowering plant's body. So this is actually the one important way of the sexual reproduction in flowering plants body. So what is the definition of pollination? That this is actually the transfer of pollen grains. So pollen grains is the male gametophyte from anther. Anther means the male reproductive, this is actually the part of the male reproductive system, to the stigma, it means the female reproductive system. Okay, so actually what is the meaning of it? That this is actually the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. So normally we can broadly categorized into two types this pollination process. The first one is the cell pollination process. The first one is the cell pollination process, and the next one is the cross pollination process. The first one is the cell pollination and the next one is the cross pollination process. The first process is the cell pollination process and the last process is the cross pollination process. So now I am coming to the point, what is the meaning of the cell pollination process? Cell pollination process means that the pollination takes place between the same flower or the different flower of the same plant. So this is the very important thing, that this is actually the meaning, that this pollination process takes place of same flower between the same flower or different flower of the same plant. So this is very important line, the same plant. You have to write this sentence properly during the time of your exam, otherwise you will get nothing. So and next is the cross pollination, means the two flowers of different plants of the same species. Okay, two flowers of different plants, so their same plants is not applicable, so there is different plants are applicable, but the species will be the same, okay. So next thing is the cell pollination is broadly categorized into two types, the autogamy and the geitonogamy, okay, and the cross pollination categorized into one types only the xenogamy. Next thing is the autogamy and actually categorized into another two types, the chasmogamy and the cleistogamy, okay. So in our next slide we will discuss broadly about all those things. Next thing is the pollination. So what is the basic definition of the pollination, or what is the basic things of the pollination? Okay, so pollination, what is the basic definition of pollination? That this is actually the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the stamen to the receptive stigma of the carpel is called the pollination process. Okay, I am coming to the next thing, but before coming to the next thing, you have to know properly the definition of pollination, because this is important for your 1 or 2 marks question, that what is the basic definition of pollination or how you will define the pollination process. Okay, so you have to write this answer. This is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the stamen to the receptive stigma. So you have to mention this point, this anther of the stamen to the receptive stigma of the carpel is called the pollination process. Okay, so you have to mention these two words properly. This pollination is of following three types. The first one is the autogamy. So what is the meaning of the autogamy? Autogamy means the cell pollination process, and this pollination actually very important topic for your exam. There are so many important topics are there in this chapter actually. Okay, this chapter is actually quite important chapter and quite difficult chapter than any other chapter. So go through these chapters properly. I am saying repeated times that go through these chapters properly. So first thing is the autogamy. So what is the meaning of the autogamy or cell pollination process? That it's actually the kind of pollination which achieved within the same flower. Okay, so this is very important line. This is very important line that this is actually achieved in the same flower, and the pollens from the anther of a flower are transferred to the stigma of same flower. Example, rice and wheat. So during the time of your exam, just remember only one example. So what is the meaning of the autogamy? So there is one word is there, that the cell pollination. So self means the actually the cell pollination means that this pollination takes place within the own's body. So it's the kind of pollination which is achieved within the same flower. So this is very important line. This is very important line for your exam, that I am highlighting this portion, that the same flower. So this is very important word, the same flower. You have to write this word properly, otherwise you will get nothing during the time of your exam. So the pollens from the anther of a flower are transferred to the stigma of the same flower. So this is another important line. So example is the rice and the wheat. So this is another important thing for your exam. The next thing is the types of the autogamy. The cell pollination actually takes place to two types. The first one is the clistogamous flower, second one is the chasmogamous flower. So this is very important definition by own self, that what is the basic definition of the clistogamous flower and what is the basic definition of the chasmogamous flower. So what is the meaning of the clistogamous flower? That these are actually the closed flower and their anthers and stigma lie close to each other. Actually this clistogamous, the common name of the clistogamous flower is called the closed flower. So what is the meaning of the closed flower? That their anthers and stigma actually lie close to each other. These are the closed flower. And what is the meaning of the chasmogamous flower? That these are open flowers with exposed sex organs. Actually this chasmogamous flower is commonly called the open flower also. So why this is called the open flower? That their sex organs are exposed and the anthers and stigma of the flowers are brought together by growth bending or folding. So this is the another important line. So there is a basic difference between the clistogamous flower and chasmogamous flower is, in the clistogamous flower their anthers and stigma are lie close to each other. Okay, so they are not showing themselves. And but the chasmogamous flower, they are actually the open flower and their sex organs are exposed and the anthers and stigma of the flowers are brought together by growth bending or folding. So this is the another important thing for your exam. Next thing is that this is actually the picture, this is actually the diagram of the clistogamous flower and the chasmogamous flower. So this is the Mirabilis jalapa. This is the flower which belongs to the chasmogamous flower. So chasmogamous flower means these are the open flowers. Okay, and they have the exposed sex organs. So look at the structure. They have the exposed sex organs. Okay, they have the exposed sex organ. Why this is the exposed sex organ? Because this is the actually the androecium and gynoecium both. So their sex organs are exposed. So that's why these are the open flower. So that's why these are the open flower. Okay, and in the pansy flower, this is the pansy flower. So this is the clistogamous flower. And what is the basic definition of the clistogamous flower? So these are the closed flowers. So this is very important thing, and their anthers and stigma lie close to each other. They are not showing themselves by outside. So this is the clistogamous flower and this is the closed flower. This is the closed flower, and these male and female, male or female, any kinds of reproductive system is not showing from the outside. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the chasmogamous flower and the clistogamous flower. Okay, next thing is the gate enogamy. So what is the meaning of the gate enogamy? So it's a kind of the cell pollination process where the pollen grains from the anther of a flower are transferred to the stigma of another flower on the same plant, okay, but different branches. So this is another important thing, that it's actually the another kind of the cell pollination process where the pollen grains from the anther of a flower are transferred to the stigma of another flower on the same plant but different branches. So example is the cucurbita. So this is the another type of the gate enogamy. The autogamy takes place with the same plant with the same branches, okay, but the gate enogamy takes place with the same plant but the different branches. Next is the xenogamy. Xenogamy is actually the another type of the pollination which belongs to the cross pollination process, okay. So what happened in the xenogamy portion, that it actually involves the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one plant to the stigma of the another plant, okay. This brings some genetic modification. So this is very important highlighting portion, the genetic modification within the plant body, because we all know that when we are crossing the two plant of the different species or two flower of the different plants, so there the variability, the variety, the genetic modification, genetic variation will be increased, okay. So this cross pollination actually brings some genetic modification which is absent actually the cell pollination process, okay. So what happened in the xenogamy portion, that it involves the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one plant to the stigma of the another plant. The species will be same but the plants will be different. In the cell pollination process the plants will be also same, okay, but in the xenogamy the species will be same but the plants will be different. Example is the papaya and maize. And one thing, during the time of your exam you have to mention this biological term, not this cross pollination or the cell pollination. You have to maintain this gate enogamy and the autogamy. You have to mention all those things, okay. You have to mention all those terms, autogamy, gate enogamy, xenogamy, during the time of your exam, okay. Next thing is the adaptation for cross pollination, actually the outbreeding device, okay. So actually what happened in the outbreeding device, that the flowering plants have developed many devices to discourage cell pollination and to encourage cross pollination. Why cross pollination actually very important for the plant's body? Because the cross pollination brings some kinds of the genetic modification, genetic variability, genetic variation, okay. So that's why flowering plants body actually wants to develop many devices to discourage the cell pollination and to encourage the cross pollination process, okay. The first adaptation is the dichogamy. What is the meaning of dichogamy? And this is also important for your 3 to 5 marks question. This is also important for your 3 to 5 marks question, okay. So in this case often, actually in this case, this dichogamy, in this case often the pollen is released before the stigma becomes receptive, or stigma become receptive before the release of pollen, okay. I am repeating again, what is the meaning of dichogamy? That in this case often the pollen is released before the stigma and before become the receptive, that's called the protandry, and stigma become receptive before the release of pollen, that's called the protogyny, okay. So you have to actually remember these two terms, the prototandry and the protogyny, okay. So what happened in the dichogamy, this is actually the one kinds of the outbreeding device, that in this case when pollen is released before the stigma it becomes the receptive, okay, and or the stigma become receptive before the release of pollen. Next thing is the heterostyly. What happened in the heterostyly? That in some other species, anther and stigma are placed at different position than the normal position, so that the pollen cannot come in contact with the stigma of the same flower. So this is actually the prevention process of the cell pollination. Okay, so if the anther and stigma are placed at different position, so the probability of the cell pollination become decreasing. Next is the self incompatibility. So it's the genetic phenomenon of preventing the pollen from fertilizing ovules of the same flower by inhibiting pollen germination. Okay. Next thing is the declining or unisexuality. So it's the presence of unisexual flowers in plants that prevents the autogamy but not the geitonogamy. Okay, so what is the meaning of autogamy? The same plant, same branch. Okay, but in the geitonogamy, plants is same but the branches are different. Okay, last one is the hercogamy. So it's seen in orchids where male or female sex organs themselves prove as a barrier to prevent the cell pollination by some structural abnormalities. So they are adapting some kinds of the abnormal structure. For that reason, the male and female sex organs cannot be mated. Okay, cannot mate properly. And the last one is the dioecy, that in this case both the autogamy and geitonogamy are prevented in several species like the papaya, where male and female flowers are present on the different plants. Okay, so it means the presence of the unisexual plants and the prevention of the heterosexual plants. Okay, so this is the basic adaptations for the cross pollination process. Next thing is the next topic for today is the actually the agents of pollination. Next topic is the agents of pollination. So what happened? So for the pollination process actually we need some agents. Okay, otherwise the pollination cannot take place by oneself. So there are two types of agents present in environment. The first one is the abiotic agent and second one is the biotic agent. What is the meaning of the abiotic agent? That it has no life, like the wind, like the water. Okay, and you have to write the proper scientific name, biological term of these agents, like the anemophily, hydrophily, all those things. And the biotic agents, it has life, it has one type of the, like the animal. So like example is the zoophily. So example is the reptiles, insect, birds, mammals, all those things. So these agents of pollination is very important for your 3 marks question. Okay. So I am repeating again. So these agents of pollination actually two types. You can broadly categorize this pollination process into two types. The first one is the abiotic agent. Second one is the biotic agents. So abiotic agents means it has no life, and there are two types of abiotic agents. First one is the wind, second one is the water. Wind means the anemophily, water means the hydrophily, and biotic agents means that it has life. So it has one type, only the animals. So the biological term of the animal agent is called the zoophily. Zoo is related with the animals. So example, there are so many animals who can carry these pollen grains, that the reptiles, insect, birds, mammals, all those things. Okay, next one is the adaptation for the wind pollination. It's actually called the anemophily. The wind pollination actually called the anemophily, and the adaptation of the wind pollinated flowers as follows. So some flowers adapted something for favorable of the wind pollination. Okay, for promoting the wind pollination, so they are adapting something in their body, like the flowers should be the small, colorless, nectarless, and the inconspicuous. Okay, next thing is the flowers have a single ovule in each ovary and numerous flowers packed into an inflorescence. So actually the main thing is that the flowers should be very small. Flowers should be very small, otherwise it cannot be fly by the wind. So this is the very important point, that the flowers are small, flowers should be small, colorless, nectarless, and inconspicuous. And the second one is the flowers have a single ovule in each ovary and numerous flowers packed into an inflorescence. Okay. Next thing is the anthers are well exposed for the easy dispersal of the pollen grains. And next thing, the pollen grains are small, light, dry and dusty and non-sticky and winged. Okay, the stigmas, the last point is that the stigmas are large, hairy, feathery or branched to catch the airborne pollen grains. Example, grasses, bamboo, coconut. Okay, so this is very important thing. And during the time of your exam, there are so many points are there. So during the time of your exam, just remember 3 to 4 points. Here I have written so many points, okay, for your actually easy memorization. So during the time of your exam, just memorize 3 to 4 points with one example. Okay, so I am repeating again. So actually the flowers should be the small and colorless and nectarless and inconspicuous for the wind pollination. And the second point is the flowers have a single ovule in each ovary and all those things are packed into an inflorescence. Third point, the anthers are well exposed for the easy dispersal of the pollen grains, and these pollen grains should be the small, light, dry and dusty and non-sticky and winged. And the last point is the stigma should be large, hairy, feathery or branched to catch the airborne pollen grains. Okay. Next thing is the adaptation for the water pollination. So it's also called the hydrophyly. Okay, hydro, the word hydro is related with the water. The word hydro is related with the water. So this is actually the meaning. Next thing is that this adaptation of water pollinated flowers as follows. The first thing is it's seen in the bryophytes, algae and pteridophytes. Second, flowers are odorless, small, colorless, nectarless and inconspicuous. Third one, stigma is long and sticky. Fourth one, pollen grains are protected from getting wet by the mucilaginous covering. Fifth one, not all aquatic plants use water for pollination. In a majority of the aquatic plants, the flowers emerge above the level of water and are pollinated by the insects here as in land plants, example water lily. Example like the seagrasses. So how seagrass adapt themselves for the water pollination? Like the here female flower remains submerged in water and pollen grains released inside the water. In such plant, pollen grains are long, ribbon-like and are carried passively inside the water to reach the stigma and achieve the pollination process. Okay, so this is your water pollination. Last is the adaptation for the insect pollination. So insect pollination is called the zoophily and it's also known as the entomophily. Actually, what is the meaning of the entomophily? Entomophily means this is related with the insect. Okay, the study about insect is called the entomology. So that's why this is also called the entomophily. The adaptations of flowers are the large, colorful, fragrant, rich in nectar. Second one, flowers have nectar gland and are highly fragrant to attract the insect. Third one, the surface of pollen grains should be sticky due to the exine layer and stigma is sticky due to the mucilaginous layer. Next thing, to sustain animal visit, flowers have to provide rewards. So nectar and pollen grains are floral rewards for the insect pollination. Okay, and many insects may consume pollen or nectar without bringing about pollination. So these floral visits are referred to as the pollen nectar robots. Okay, in plant yucca, moth and the plant cannot complete their life cycle without each other. It's get pollinated by moth. So they are actually living in symbiosis relationship. Okay, so that's called the pollen nectar robots. Okay, this is called the actually the one kinds of the symbiosis relationship. So this is the last topic for today. In our next class we will discuss the pollen pistil introduction, and from this video we came to know that what is the basic definition of pollination, how many types of pollination takes place in one plant's body, and their briefly description. Okay, so during the time of your exam please go through this portion properly, because this is very important for your 3 to 5 marks question, that the pollination things. Okay, so go through this properly and go through the other 3 videos, because this chapter is interlinked with each other. So if you miss one video, then you cannot understand the next video's content. So that's why go through their each and every videos from this chapter properly, and if you have any doubts and any queries, ask me immediately. Okay, thank you, bye.